What do I eat for dinner? Many philosophers have pondered this question throughout the ages. It's a question that plagues us all from time to time. It plagues me much less than it used to because I have a system. I'm going to run out of food videos to make so quickly once I reveal all of my systems. But anyway, this is a guide to meal planning for beginners. This is, I'm sorry, probably not a very good video for you if you have a whole family to feed. That is out of my wheelhouse. But what is in my wheelhouse is when you're like in your 20s and it's 6 o'clock and you're hangry and you have a bunch of disparate ingredients. You have garlic and you have onions because you know that that's a thing people used to cook with, but you don't know what to cook with it. And you're really frustrated and then suddenly you just order DoorDash. You press 3 buttons and sushi comes to your house. This is a video for that person with a disclaimer that I am not a dietitian. I'm not here to tell you what to eat. I'm here to help you think through some things to come to your own conclusion. And if you have something going on that requires more specific advice, then find a way to eat vegetables that you enjoy. Please don't ask it to me. So I'm going to explain how I decide what to eat. And maybe that will be of use to you. There are 3 different things I take into consideration when deciding what to eat. I am going to explain them all, and then I am going to run through them with examples. Capiche? If you're here from Tofu Video and you're wondering, where's your little cat? She's in a cone. She's so sad. Number 1, intuition. What do I want to eat? I know you protest. That's the whole problem, is that I don't know what I want to eat. When it's time to put a grocery list together, I ask myself the low stakes version of that question. The answer does not need to be a specific meal. We're not there yet. This is about vibes. Is there an ingredient I've had a hankering for? I'm really in the mood for a potato. Is there a category of food I'm in the mood for? It's been chilly and I want a soup or a stew. It's hot. I want a crisp salad. Is there a recipe you saw on Instagram that looks good? Is there a new cooking technique or food you've been wanting to try? Do you keep ordering Thai food? This is the zone of inspiration. Get excited about something. Number 2, nutrition. We have a vibe. Let's turn it into a meal. I know that nutrition can have a negative connotation to it, that it means making your food sad, or it's something to obsess over getting correctly and be mean to yourself if you don't succeed. That is not what we're going for here. This is nutrition, parentheses, not derogatory. This is being additive. This is taking our initial inspiration and bolstering it. When I'm trying to take a vibe or an ingredient or a recipe and turn it into a whole meal for myself, I try to think of it in terms of building blocks: carb, protein, fat, vegetable, or fruit. My initial inspiration will usually fit into 1 or 2 of those, and then I can fill out the meal with the rest of the building blocks. They are but a suggestion, a good sort of first, where do I go from here? And with the right mindset, it is not sad. It is creative. It is fun. And 3, preferences and logistics. This is the section where all your neuroses can come out to play. We have a meal in mind, but you have a life. You want soup, but do you want it every day this week, or do you want like 3 soups? If you're packing lunch, what's there to reheat your food? If it's just a microwave, do you think it makes everything taste like the microwave in a way that's weird and bad to you? That's how I feel. Do you like to prep everything and make your life easy? Do you like to leave room for surprises? Where are you on the cooking things from scratch to cooking out of the box scale? Are you a 3 square meals a day kind of guy? Or do you like a bunch of scattered little meals and snacks? You can reverse engineer a meal out of, I'm really busy this week, so I want to cook something that tastes good as leftovers. If something I really want to eat doesn't fit the circumstances of the week I'm having, next week is probably going to happen too, so I can just eat it then, if I still want it. And if I don't, then okay. Back to step 1. What do I want to eat? What do I want to eat? I'm so glad you asked. Allow me to take you through 4 things I ate this week and how I decided to eat them. Number 1, a list within a list. I'm like Jenny Nicholson, but bad. On Instagram, I saw a recipe from Eats by Will for a vegan version of segawat, which is an Ethiopian beef stew. And I thought it looked really good and I wanted to eat it. Okay, great. Step 1 complete. Step 2. What we have before us is a protein. Beef, if you're making it with beef. I made mine with seitan. You could just eat straight beef stew if that's what you would like to do. I would like to bolster. So over the weekend, I meal prepped a week's worth of stew. And then come dinner time, I added a carb by serving it with rice. I added a vegetable by steaming up some collard greens. And there was already quite a bit of fat in the stew, so I left that be for this one. Often I will add fat in the form of sauce. This doesn't really call for sauce because it's a stew. And the other things I will be eating will have fat, so it's fine. And of course, logistics. I like to meal prep I know that many of you don't. I know because you've left comments on my other videos saying, why would anyone ever want to eat 6 of the same thing in a row? I don't know. Why does anyone like to do anything? That's what I like to do. I will have examples for those of you that don't like to do that, but that is what I like to do. So often when I'm trying to decide what to eat, I will pick something that I like in meal prep format. Stew is an excellent example of this because you can just cook up a big pot of it and then leave it to soak in its own juices the entire week in the fridge, and it tastes better as the week goes on instead of worse, which meal prep food can. And I did not make all of the components ahead of time. I don't really like rice and vegetables when they've been reheated, so I just made the stew and then everything else I made fresh. And then I combined it in one delicious plate. And that is 6 dinners by way of an Instagram recipe. Cool. 2. I'm having a hankering for a BLT. The second the sun comes out, that's what I want. Now, I don't work in an office anymore, but when I did, I would only pack food that tastes good cold. Because as I said earlier, I think the microwave makes everything taste like the microwave. And if I don't like a microwaved vegetable, I'm not going to force myself to eat it. I'm going to find another way. And the other way is salads and sandwiches. And I've already got a whole video about how to make a really good salad. So let's make a sandwich. The great thing about a sandwich is that all the food groups are pretty naturally built into it. We have bread as a carb. We have bacon as our protein. I am using the Light Life smoky tempeh strips. Lettuce, tomato as vegetable. And instead of using mayo, I use this cashew za'atar spread. It's from the brand Bandit, and it is delicious, and I recommend it highly. And to bolster even further, I had it with some cherries. If you also have some like packing vegetable sensory neuroses and you want your nutrition, fruit's going to be your best friend because most of it is good and all of it is good cold. If I was to be packing these sandwiches, I wouldn't meal prep them for the whole week. I would make them in the morning. We can't have lettuce and tomato touching for an entire week in there. That wouldn't be good. And the other great thing about a sandwich is that you can switch out your innards halfway through the week. If you have some like leftover protein and veg from your dinner last night and you don't want to eat it for dinner again, that could be your sandwich. And then you're not having 6 of the same meal in a row. Okay, so that's lunch and dinner for the week. But I've got some other stuff. I've got some leftovers that I need to contend with. And I also just have like a thing that I want to eat, which is mac and cheese. So the next 2 are going to be like end of week transitional type meals. Number 3, I've come to give you permission to cook things from a box. You're looking at someone who makes her own salad dressing from scratch every week because I think it's fun. But I also love to get a box of mac and cheese and bolster it. I love to put my leftovers in mac and cheese. Of the non-dairy mac and cheeses, I am partial to the Annie's sweet potato pumpkin. You can get whatever mac and cheese you're partial to. So on this fine weekend, I have taken half of my box of sweet potato pumpkin mac and cheese. I have taken some of the cauliflower and chickpeas left over from last week and roasted them on up till crispy. And I have taken the final Beyond Italian sausage from a meal that I had last week. And I've crisped her up in the pan. And I have put all of that in my bowl of mac and cheese. So now we have mac and cheese featuring fun new textures, protein, nutrients. Isn't that cool? This is an excellent place to use that box of spinach at the end of the week. You don't have to let it go bad. You can put it in mac and cheese. And if you're thinking to yourself, can't I just eat a box of mac and cheese? Yes. And finally, I call this like Midwest man dinner. It's a food pyramid ass meal. You've got some remaining components from last week's meals. You've got some stuff in the pantry you'd like to use up. Let's combine. I have the Gardein spicy chicken patty from last week's salad. I have broccoli from a tofu broccoli rice we have takeout at home situation. I have potatoes from 2 weeks ago that are going to go bad. And I have cashew goat cheese, also from this week's salad. And would you look at that? That's a carb, a protein, a vegetable, and a fat right there. They weren't initially meant to go together, but they most certainly do. So when I'm trying to throw together an end of week meal, I'm not usually using a recipe. I'm usually trying to slot things into nutrition components and then making them all taste good together with a sauce. And that is what I have to say about meal planning, I think. I hope this has been useful. And if not, sorry about that. And I would like to hear about your meals if you make them. Okay, bye.